Good morning. Today is Monday. It is the 27th of January already, and welcome to Saba's Way of Life. So, another long video which is designed to give you some really valuable knowledge that you can then go back and act upon. So today, in a nutshell, I am going to talk about three different things. Well, two major things, and then introduce you to a third thing that I'm going to focus on a lot in future videos. So I'm going to talk about the little concoction of herbs that I'm using at the moment during these winter months to help to detoxification of basically the toxins inside my body and blood and so on, different ways. But I am also going to mention that there is another way that is the most powerful way, which is the sunlight. And that's kind of the third thing that I wanted to introduce you to for future videos. The other thing I'm going to talk about is my hair. You can notice that and see that I'm not wearing a hat today. And can you see a little bit of colour in my hair? So I'm going to explain to you what that is, what I'm doing. And again, the reason I'm explaining that to you is to give you some inspiration and insight in how to think when it comes to living a way of life that is completely in alignment to nature herself as far as you can. And everybody can. There is no excuse. You can. If you first set your mind to it and then you understand the benefits of it. So let me first start. So the first thing I'm going to say to you is that if I was talking to you now in the summer, I wouldn't be talking about any of this stuff. I would be saying to you, get out into the sun. And you have to remember that I am in the UK. It's miserable, dark, cold, rainy outside. It's the clouds are literally down here. There's no sunlight. You can't see it anyway. Now, even though you can't see it, I would still say that the single most important thing that you can do, and I've been doing this for years now, most days for years, not knowing until very recently the reason why it was having such a magical effect on my health. I knew it did and always thought that it was metaphysical, which actually it is, but there's also quantum biology involved, which I have learned a lot from Dr. Jack Kruse. Of course, I understand the importance of those particular lux rays first thing in the morning. I understand to some degree the circadian rhythm, having read a lot about it, and Dr. Sachin Panda, who I shared with you, the book I read, which talked about aligning yourself to nature's principles and which talked about getting out in the sunlight, even at daybreak, even if you don't see the sun, so that your circadian biology in your eyes connect to the light in the sky and starts the circadian clock, because that circadian clock is the very thing that triggers the entire biology in terms of producing all the right hormones, enzymes, and everything else. It works on your mitochondria. And I'm going to talk about that in more detail as I myself get more proficient in articulating the message to you. I understand it, but I want to articulate it in a simple way that you then understand, and then go and do your own research when something, you have that literal light bulb moment. So many metaphors and symbolisms in what I'm saying. Okay, so that's the first thing I would say to you to do. I don't think it's not negotiable. You get up early. I'm repeating what I've said in previous videos, aren't I? Get out into the sun, get out into at daybreak and connect with nature's light, whatever light it is. Now, I've been talking a lot and I'm expanding upon ensuring that your body is in balance. And one of the ways to create balance, of course, it's always in your way of life, but today I'm focusing on the things that I drink and eat and so on during the winter months. And a key element of that is removing toxins from the body. Now, if I was in the sunlight, I know I keep banging on about this, but this is so important. The sunlight would do it for me, 100%. It would do it all, because it would just get the mechanics, the chemistry of my biology sorted out itself, and bang, bang, bang. And I'll just give it a little bit of help. But we don't have the sunlight. So I'm going to share some little kind of juice and detox recipes that I mentioned before, but I'm going to show you the items that I've got because they're all sitting on my little table here. So you can go and get a pen and paper and write this down. Look, I've got them all written down, which I've got from various different books, and then I put them up on my fridge, and it's easy for me to look at and then put everything in until I remember it. But, you know, I haven't got the most amazing memory. I don't feel I need to. If I can get access somewhere, I'll go there and get access. So I write things down. We're all different. Although, funnily enough, my memory is actually getting sharper. I wonder why that is. I think if I was in a hot country, it would be much sharper if I'm out in the sun properly every day. So the first one is a bloodstream and lymph cleanse. So what that means is that the items that are put into this juice help to clean out the toxins from the bloodstream. And of course, everything is in alignment to nature's principles. I'm not going to give you 1 teaspoon what to use. Your own common sense and base it all on what's growing around you. The most important thing is to make sure that everything you consume in terms of food in terms of food and other things, is produced in your own country that you live in today. Must be local, because that will align the way those items are grown. And remember, make sure that they're grown organically with the sunlight. No pesticides, no rubbish put in, not artificial light. Real sunlight. As much as you can. I know it's next to impossible for some people, but I'm just telling you the facts, okay? So, bloodstream and lymph cleanse. These are the things that you can put in. You can add other things as well. Lemon juice. Yes. So now when it comes to lemon, in fact, let me read them all out, and then I'll explain where I get my bits and pieces from. So you've got lemon juice, turmeric, parsley, ginger, cayenne pepper, celery, mint, cucumber, coriander, rocket, and if you really have to sweeten it, which probably most of you do, because you know we've lost how we used to our sense of taste and what's important. We've just forgotten what the tastes that are healing are, and it's all sugar. So you can add a little bit of apple, piece of apple or something. I don't use the apple. I might put a carrot in or something like that. So with apples, it's very easy. I mentioned this in a previous video that you just go, and if you haven't got your own apple trees and you haven't stored them over winter, which I hope to do next year, go and buy British apples that are organic. With lemon, it's very hard to get that lemon juice over here. So you just have to do your best and get the best as you can. Now, I go and get lemon from, arguably, you could say don't put it in because it's not local. But I am. Again, you have to make a decision. Don't be too finicky about things. I use this every day and it works beautifully. But understand the principles behind what I'm saying. So I go to an Indian greengrocer's, and I get those little kind of lemons that look like limes, but they're not. They're Indo-Pakistani, and they are imported in. And I kind of feel comfortable having that as opposed to one of those big yellow things that just look completely hybridized, which they are, I feel more comfortable because there's something in my own blood that is very Indian, because my genetics are Indian parents. So I feel comfortable doing that. And if you don't have to, but just try it and see how you feel. It's all down to you. You make the choices. Turmeric, again, for the same reason, it's hard to grow turmeric here. It is possible, but it's much more challenging. I've got a very good turmeric powder that I buy from a place called I'm going to put this all into the description for you. BWPO, I can't remember the full thing. I'm going to put it into the description, and if I can get a discount from them, I will, and then I'll pass some of that discount on to you. It's like an affiliate link. And I will get that if I can get the discount from them, and then I'll pass half of that on to you. I don't know if I can. If not, I'll put the details down anyway, and you can just go directly to their website. Parsley. Look, I've got parsley growing in my greenhouse. I grew this parsley last spring. It just grew. I put it in different pots. It's in my greenhouse, and I get 2 or 3 bits a day and put it in. Ginger. Again, you can grow it. I haven't had much success, but I buy my ginger from the Indian greengrocers, and I avoid Chinese ginger. Do your research on what they do with Chinese ginger and garlic, how they grow it. I mean, the garlic, they bleach. So what's left of its nourishment? You don't buy garlic because it's garlic. It needs to nourish your cells. That's the whole point, right? It needs to have, remember, all of these things that I'm saying are nature's gifts, and they have sun within them. They have UV sunlight in them if they're grown the right way. That's why you want to go as close to nature as possible. The ginger I get is a Ugandan ginger from, again, a local greengrocer. It is more expensive, but the difference is night and day. You only need a tiny bit. Even when I touch the ginger with my fingers and put that against my tongue, it's so strong. So it's a quality ginger. Cayenne pepper. Again, a good quality organic cayenne pepper. This one here, can't remember where I got it from, but it says Organic Village, organic cayenne pepper. I've talked about cayenne a lot, and I've explained where you can get the information from. Look up Barbara O'Neill, put in the search engine, Barbara O'Neill, cayenne pepper, and she can't stop talking about it. Quite rightly so. Celery. 2 years ago, I grew my own celery. This year, I'm going to grow, I've already bought the seeds. I think I shared the seeds with you a little while ago. I get mine from the Real Seed Company, and they're selling right now. Go to the Real Seed Company, think about and plan what you want to grow this year in your garden or in your pots, and then buy your seeds from them. If you're in the UK, for sure. They're very, very good. I just love their ethics, and they're based in Wales. I'm probably going to go and visit them sometime this summer. I always like to go and visit the places where I buy foodstuffs from, or anything from, just to understand who's behind it and the energy within them and behind them, because that is what affects the nature of the food as well. Who's growing it? Are they conscious people? So celery, if you buy celery from the supermarket or your greengrocers preferably, try and buy it with the flowers, the leaves intact, and use those leaves in your juice. Mint, I've got wild mint growing outside in my garden, and that's the mint that I use in this juice. It's very strong and it's wild, and it can be a pest for some people, but I keep it cut down. It's only a pest if you ignore it. It's nature's gift to us, for goodness sake. Use nature's gifts. They're all out there. Nettles, for example. I've talked about nettles. Go walking into the woodland somewhere. It can't be too far from where you live. And even if it is, if you can get out there, go. So I go for walks just locally, and I find wild nettle, and the roots go so deep into the soil, which is more, it hasn't been hybridized and chemicalized, apart from, of course, the rain and all the other rubbish that's in our atmosphere. But you do your best. The roots go so deep, and they pull the nourishment vitamins, minerals, amino acids, everything from within the soil. And that is what's in nettle. That's why it's such a powerful, powerful food medicine. And you can use that in your juices. You can use that in your stocks and soups. It doesn't sting once you cook it, or I think if you just put some warm water over it. But try it and see. So you've got mint. I mentioned nettles if you want. Cucumber, again, I buy them. I try and buy the loose ones, not the ones with plastic if I can help it. But even the loose ones, be careful. You can buy these really small loose ones from your local Indian greengrocer. And I leave them in the fridge for a couple of days and they start getting fungus on the outside. And that's a sign that they've got chemicals. So I kind of peel the skin off. But I did find quite a nice loose cucumber in Sainsbury's, believe it or not, last week. And they were loose and they were not organic. I tried to look for the organic, but I bought them nonetheless and they seem to be doing quite well. Otherwise, grow your own. And I am going to be growing my own this year. Coriander, I've grown my own. I've got little baby coriander coming up that hasn't completely grown, but still the stalks are there. So I'm going to grow that. I'll use that and put that into my juice. So trying to align myself with eating these herbs raw, of course. You know, when you eat these herbs and even vegetables, the ones that you can and your stomach can cope with eating raw, do that, because they're holding the sun in them, the ability for them to hold light and put it into your body and into your cells so that you have these electrons swimming around in your cells. We'll talk more about that another time. And health. It's a no-brainer when I explain how light is the key principle to everything in life, right? So that light is held inside your fruit. Well, the light is held inside us as well. But in your raw fruit and vegetables, when you cook, which for some things you do need to, it doesn't hold enough light. It may have other benefits, but light is the key today. I'm not suggesting you go and eat everything raw at all. I mean, I wouldn't, but I'm just giving you facts. So coriander and rocket. I don't have any left, but I grew lots of rocket last year, but this year I'm going to try and grow proper organic rocket in the garden. So those are the things that you put in, and you can do your research as to why, but those together in synergy are great to cleanse your bloodstream and lymph and help the toxins to get out of your system through your pee, through your poop, through your sweat, through other ways as well. Now, the other detox kind of juice or tincture or something like that you can use, I explained this to you, is this clay one. Now, pteramine, they call it, but this is a blend of healing clay. Can you see it here? Which I picked up. Oh, I didn't pick up. I did a lot of research. That's a silly word I used. But which I researched well. And this is from a company called Golden Age Remedies. Now, the owner, you wouldn't have heard of this company unless you actually know the owners themselves, because they don't market themselves commercially. The owner of this, or one of the partners of this company, is on my naturopathy course that I'm running, and he's a very conscious person. I've spoken to him many, many times online, haven't met him yet, but online, visually, met him, talked to him offline as well, and they only offer specialist products. He himself is a naturopath amongst much else. You can go to Golden Age Remedies and look up this individual. His name is Michael. It's on the web, and see what it's about. So I, having done my own independent research for a long time, understanding clay, my father talks a lot about clay, and it's no coincidence that back in India, in the heat of India, they used to cook in clay pots, and they were getting the benefits of that clay, which had been baked out in the sun. They were getting the benefits from that clay anyway, just through cooking in a certain way. What clay does, amongst much else, and do your own research, is that it helps to especially if it's magnetic within it, which I think it is actually, it actually pulls toxins onto it, which stick and then help to get it out of your system. You're getting rid of toxins, heavy metals and all of that rubbish that's in you, aluminium, and we won't go there, and other toxins that have built up from all of this kind of stuff that people are having, which of course you might have guessed by now, I know is absolute, utter, unequivocal poison that's killing us. And it's killing our children, and it's destroying their brains. Autism, for example, ADHD, all related to a lack of ability to absorb light, which then relates to our gut microbiome and everything else. And of course, mother and father as well, before they were born. Right, let me go back to what I was saying. So this and one more item that I've bought from Golden Age Remedies is, I've talked about this before, is the triple blend herbal tea. I'll talk about that in a minute. But these two, I have got a discount. So Michael was able to give me a 10% discount, and I asked him to pass 5% on to you. So I'm going to put the link below. Go in and take a look at his website. Look at all the products that are on offer, and then do some research. And he's got a really lovely write-up on what each of them does. Do some research and start to, rather than worry about what somebody else says or even what I'm saying, start to feel, start to use your inner tuition, your inner knowledge to figure out what might help you in these next couple of months, depending on your state of health. All right. So that's the clay. So 1 teaspoon pteromin. Lemon juice again goes into this little thing. You put a whole lemon juice. Spirulina, 1 teaspoon. Now you can buy spirulina, which is one of these wonderful green powders that helps to hold oxygen into the body. But I use my green juice, and as you all know, I've got a big box of super greens from Athletic Greens, which is in my fridge. But this is they did these little packs, Athletic Greens. They're not cheap. I got given this. I just got sent this by them when I bought the big one, but it's more expensive doing it this way. You know, just buy the big packet and pop it into a container, non-metal container, and keep it in your fridge. It's live. So put a spoonful of that in it if you wish. Now again, you're much better off getting vegetables from nature, but the problem is 99% of what we have from nature doesn't offer us the nourishment we need. You can judge it by how you're feeling. You know, over the summer months, I probably wouldn't be taking this when I'm growing all my own veggies outside in the garden. Everything is about timing. And if I lived in the sun, in somewhere hot in the sun nearer to the equator, this is it's gone out, but I don't need it. I don't need it. Very unlikely. Okay, so remember, it all depends on the environment, the month we're in, your current state of health, who you are, your background, genetics, everything. So a teaspoon of that super green powder. Now there's liquid magnesium. Here's the liquid magnesium here. Magnesium is one mineral that is missing in us, hugely missing in us. It wouldn't be if we had sunlight and we were out there all the time, but it really contributes towards muscle function and much else. And you know, if everything I'm saying is open to change, because the information that we're learning today is changing the entire medical paradigm. And in some ways, I feel like a bit of a cheat even talking about this to you after some of the education that I'm learning through Dr. Jack Kruse, which is breaking every current medical paradigm, not just centralized, but even those that say they're uncentralized, but actually they're not. Like functional medicine is bullshit. And even some elements of naturopathy, I can't coincide with them after reading some of his work and now researching it in more detail. But these things still are better than nothing right now, especially if you live in the UK. So you get a spoon of that. You can just go online and get that somewhere. And then you can add, in this particular detox, you can add a raw egg yolk. Make sure it's a quality egg. You know, the eggs I get were originally from my hens, which I had until autumn last year. But then now I go to a farm and get them. And I know the farmer, I know the owners of that farm. It's actually Hill Farm Real Food, all the way in Cheshire, because they're very conscious people. I've seen how they nurture their cows, how they produce the milk. I've spoken to them. I've been there 3 or 4 times. I've watched the cows being moved into the field, and I understand how their hens are looked after. So when I go and get the meat and when I go and get the milk, I'll get my eggs from there as well. If I can't get it from there, then I'll go to the supermarket and try and get the best quality eggs I can. It matters. You can't get rubbish because you're not going to get the nutritional integrity. So you don't even need to eat much when you're eating quality. In fact, you need to eat very little if you've got the sun around you, because the sun gives you the energy that you need. Yeah, I'm saying things which are breaking every paradigm thought you might have had. The sun gives you all the energy you need. Don't even need to eat really very much at all. But you do need to hydrate. You need quality water. Okay, so that's the detox. Clay, lemon juice, green powder, a little bit of 30 millilitres of Floridex liquid magnesium, a raw egg yolk. And for those of you who are really suffering and haven't got the sun around you at all, then there is this. Again, this is absolute coincidence. I read this in a book, Vitamin D3 K2, and this was sent to me again by Athletic Greens some time ago. I've not touched it. It's been in my fridge, but you can put a little bit of that. I mean, my vitamin D content is perfect in my body because it's functioning well, like a well-oiled engine. But you can add this if you want. The body makes its own D3. So if you're getting help and you're putting a supplement in, you're saying to your body, hey, you know what? You're saying to your cells, you don't need to make it anymore. And then that is not good. That has long-term, very damaging effects. Think about this. The body synthesizes its own D3 through being in the sun. Every 5 seconds I'm talking to you about the sun. I really hope the message is sinking in. You can put 4 drops of that and some fulvic acid. I talked about fulvic acid in a previous video. Go watch it. Maybe not the last one, the one before that. The other thing that people are not aware of, and I would ask you to look at Barbara Wren's work, Barbara W-R-E-N, not the other Barbara I talked about, which was Barbara O'Neill. Barbara Wren talks a lot about iodine in her book, The Cellular Awakening, which I've discussed many times here. And I started a book reading on cellular awakening, if you remember. And one of the book readings, which was a 15-minute reading, was actually taken off YouTube because she talked about a subject that they don't want you to know about. So go back to the videos. Remember, everything I do is like a story. One leads on to the next. You can't really watch my channel and understand it if you just watch a one-off video. You have to watch like a story. It's like, and then things start to connect. It's like me, at the moment, I'm studying Dr. Jack Kruse. I can't just watch one YouTube podcast. I've watched hours and hours of his podcasts from different people. I've gone on to his X because he writes huge posts and then adds links with papers in them. I've gone onto his website and now I've joined his Patreon and I pay. It's the first time I've ever paid a subscription to something like that because the man is changing the paradigm of health. He's changed it and we need to know about this. And for me, and I've been, since for the last 10, 11, 12 years, almost daily reading and educating myself in all areas of life, but especially health, after healing from Crohn's. For me, reading enough of him and listening to him, I just thought, I know that I can't not learn more. So I've gone onto his Patreon site and I'm reading studies. I'm learning ways people can heal who've had injuries from this, and why, and understanding the pathways, understanding SV40, which has been talked about a lot. And I shouldn't have mentioned that. That might hit the algorithms, but everything to get a wider understanding. That's why it's important to have full immersion. So mine is a very basic, simple YouTube channel, but it will change paradigms if you haven't thought this way at all. It's a great intro. So you've got to watch everything to understand how I think. And neither am I saying that everything I'm saying is right. If you look at the very intro of my channel, it says that I change my perspective often. That's a sign of huge intelligence, to not have a fixed mind and black and white thinking, fixed concrete thinking. No, it's very fluid, my thinking. Always open, never used to be. So this is Lugol's iodine. So you can, I'm not suggesting you have to, how you use it, what you do your own research. But I use this occasionally. I put a drop or two in something and I drink it. But I also make sure that the diet that I have has traces of iodine. I talked about this before. I should have taken it out, but I've got this grey Celtic sea salt, which you can also buy from BWFO, I think it's called. I'll put it in the description. And it's the crystal one. It's a crystal sea salt that's almost grey, it's quite moist, and in each of those crystalline structures, there's a tiny, tiny trace amount of iodine. Probably not enough, because you should be getting iodine from other parts, other food. I get mine from milk as well, and eggs. I eat a lot of eggs, but you can also get it from seaweed and kelp and all these other things. But also, because we're so lacking in nutrition, I put a little bit of this in. Look up why iodine is so important, and you need to get the right type. So you have to do your own research. I'm just giving you snippets. For mental clarity, it's a no-brainer. Right, so that's the detox formula. Let me just go back and just read them out. Pteramine clay, lemon juice, super green powder, liquid magnesium, some drops of vitamin D3, K2, fulvic acid, raw egg yolk. Like that. Iodine I use separately. I just put a drop here. I don't do it every day. You know, I know I'm well enough. Do your own research. Then to add a little concoction to get your digestive fire going. In Sanskrit, it's called Agni. And that helps your body to digest and metabolize food properly and break it down. A lot of people are very cold inside their body. They've body temperature has just cooled down because we don't get, again, the sun. So this helps to ignite your digestive fire. Ginger, lemon juice, honey, raw honey, of course, ground black pepper, and use sea salt. Now you can make up a little tincture or mixture of this, probably not called tincture because tincture normally has a little bit of alcohol or something in it, but make up a tincture or a mixture, and then just have a spoon or two every day. If you're not digesting your food properly, have it maybe before a meal. You can add it in some water and drink it. You can have it after a meal if you feel bloating. It would help. The other thing that helps with bloating is actually cumin seeds. And if you take raw cumin seeds, which a lot of people won't be able to, but because their taste buds are so poisoned by sugar that they can't cope with pungent flavours, spicy flavours, bitter flavours. But I take a teaspoon of cumin after I've had a meal, or certainly after I've had any form of wheat or bread or chapatis. And if I feel there might be some bloating, then I will take a teaspoon of that, really chew on it with my saliva, really chew on it so the digestive juices are there. And within 10 minutes, my bloating just dissipates and my stomach becomes flat. But this is very good for the digestive fire. Okay? 34 minutes, and this is all I've talked about. Right, let me also talk to you. So I'm switching now onto hair. I promised I'd talk about it. So you can see I didn't actually show all these other things here. Yeah, well, I can talk about them another time. See, the two things I forgot to mention also are linseeds, flax seeds and chia seeds that I've got here. Get a good quality if you can, and you can add your chia seeds to the juice recipe if you want. The good thing about linseeds and chia seeds is the benefit is that they hold water. So they're hydrating you as well. So when you add them in and you make your shake and you drink it, they've still got hold water. And in my brain, I keep thinking in my mind, well, it's like a slow release water system that's keeping the cells hydrated. Hydration is very important. Cellular hydration. It's very different to you feeling thirsty and drinking loads of water. Of course, in order for that water to go in, because we are 70% water, the bloodstream, the body, the brain is 80% water, we have to drink it. But I'm specifically targeting cellular hydration so that the whole system of how the mitochondria absorbs light and emits light works properly. So keep drinking throughout the day, but never at meal times, because at meal times you want to ensure that your digestive fire in your stomach, the acids, are there have the right pH to break down your food, unless it's just sips of warm herbal tea. But otherwise, don't drink half an hour, 1 hour before you eat, and 2 hours after you've eaten. And I break this rule many a time because I'm dying to have a cup of tea, but I'm getting better at things, and because everything else I do is pretty wildly good, I don't attack myself too much. But if you've got issues here, watch what you're drinking when you're drinking it. I mean, it should only be water. You shouldn't be putting any other shit inside your body. It's just water or herbal or something herbal with quality water. Water's another subject we can talk about another day, but there's huge amounts of research on that. I have a Barkey water filter, which has carbon filters in it and fluoride filters, and it's very, very good. And I also have some prayers on it in Hebrew. You could use Aramaic. Why? Because I understand how resonance works. Scalar wave resonance, which changes the nature of the structure of the water. I'm going very deep now. My mum and dad, who've lived here since the 1960s, have always drank tap water. Remember, my dad is 90, nearly 90 now. My mother's just turned 80. And they know what's in the water and how rubbish it is. But the thing is, they never, ever, ever eat or drink or do anything without a gratitude prayer. And that gratitude prayer with absolute faith and love for God changes the entire nature of that tap water, and it's so powerful. It's just something that they have done all their lives for everything. In our culture, in the Islamic culture, what's said is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the Most Mighty and Merciful. In the name of the Creator. Think about this. Isn't that going to change the nature of anything? Just saying it will change the biochemistry of the cells within your body. If you choose to think of this as poo-poo, then you're stupid. You need to do some research and understand how metaphysics works, epigenetics works, and how it's associated with quantum mechanics and quantum biology. It's all interlinked. The reductionist medicine that we live in today, that is bullshit. That is dying. 99% of what you read in those medical textbooks is nonsense and it's rubbish. Let me repeat that. 99% is rubbish and nonsense. And I'm confident in saying that now after watching and listening to huge amounts of Dr. Jack Kruse's work, which wasn't him alone. It's all the reading I've done over the last 10 or 15 years. Right? So I'm not just parroting what he's saying. I understand it now, and I continue to understand it in ways that are beyond belief. And I can see it in my own body and others who live in alignment to nature. Right, shall I go back to my hair now? So let's look at my hair. You can see these kind of plum bits in it. So what I decided to do earlier this year is, see, one by one, I'm getting rid of chemicals and toxins from my life. Even this jumper I'm wearing, it's a jumper that I bought some years ago from a sale in Marks and Spencer's, and it's pure cashmere. And it was in a sale, and I've had it for years, and I will try everything in my power to wear fibres as close to as nature intended as possible, because if I wear polyester or any rubbish like that that's put on against my skin, it's one more thing that's being ingested by my cells to try and kill me. No, I'm doing everything in my power, bit by bit, not with any fear, one thing at a time over a period of time. Okay? The very key thing that you must all bear in mind is to align yourself with nature's principles. Live in nature's time. Become nature herself, because that's who you are, with a few extra bits that one could argue is a disease because we don't know how to use those bits properly, like your left brain of logic and reason that makes us human and supposedly special, but most of us don't realise what that special means. Right, so what I've done is you can see, actually I've got greys. You can see I've got greys, not everywhere, but quite a lot. So I've started now to use an organic mustard seed oil, which I watched my dad use, and I massage that in. Now, arguably, well, actually, no, not arguably, because I've seen it. I've seen a grandmother, not my grandmother, but somebody else's grandmother from India, who uses mustard seed oil in her hair all the time. And I saw her when she was 85, 90, and her hair was jet black, not dyed. I'm not suggesting that will work for everybody. Of course, she lived in the sunlight. And mustard seed oil, when it's grown over there in India, holds a lot of light within it. So that has an effect on the colour of your hair. Right? So what I have done, these are things that I really want you to soak in, right? What I did first was use a henna. It's called Pure. Again, I've forgotten, it's upstairs, but it's called Pure. It's a box called Pure, and it's got in it henna powder, amla powder, which is an Indian fruit, and it's got one more, and I can't remember. Anyway, it's Pure. Look it up on Google. And I used that, first of all. It was called dark brown. I know that these natural colours will not just colour your hair like a chemical, because it's not fake. It's working in alignment to nature's principles, and depending on the quality of the powder, because it's all come from India. So I first used that in my hair, and I did this on a day it was sunny, because guess what? You need the heat and the sun's energy to help it react in a way to not just change its colour, but all of those things are actually healing herbs for the scalp and the hair and the brain. They're being soaked in. So think all the time, nourishment, and think of the colour as a side effect. Change the thinking. A beautiful human being is one that's in alignment to nature. Beauty is not how you look. Those people who are in alignment to nature can see the real beauty in others. And they will be repelled by the filth that you see in those that are completely hooked to their identities and their filthy makeup riddled faces, that actually you see that filth, you look at it and you want to vomit because it's all toxin and chemicals. You know, your entire body chemistry repels it. But first of all, you're so aligned to source connection that you can sense it, let alone, you don't even have to see it, you can sense it a long way away. You understand? So change your thinking. Once the thinking changed, you won't even make life about you anymore. You will make sure that you live in alignment to nature's principles so that your unique gifts that you have been given are able to manifest themselves by the way you live and then help others. And that is what's going to give you meaning, and that's what's going to give you the greatest dopamine hit ever. That's what it's about. I'm digressing again. So I put this in, I left it in all day. I did put a plastic thing over the top because it wasn't warm enough and I needed to stay warm. Probably not the best thing to do, but I did. Washed it out. My hair came out thick and beautiful and the greys had turned orange. Then I did a little bit more research and I bought a couple more things from Nature's Root. Again, go to Nature's Root. There are many places. I just found this one. I'm going to try and get an affiliate link for this and pass the discount on to you if I can, if they offer it. So I bought hibiscus powder. I bought a Bring Raj powder, which is very nourishing for the hair. And I bought, which was the key thing, indigo. Now, indigo powder is, let me just get my glasses on. These are all from India, or sourced from India, anyway. Remember, these are all herbs. Like, for example, this indigo is from the leaf of the Indigofera tinctoria. Anyway, it's a natural dye made from these leaves. And in here you can see, it says they're mixed with coffee, henna or other natural dyes to manipulate, look at the words, to manipulate your desired shade. So I had used some of this and I had actually put a little bit of hibiscus in it. Now, when you open the hibiscus packet, it's bright red, orange. And I only put a tiny bit in and more of that, mixed it up. I didn't put coffee in, put that in my hair. And of course, it's picked up the hibiscus. So it's meant to go black. You only use indigo for your hair to go darker if you're using it after you've hennaed your hair. Otherwise, I think it will turn your hair, grey hair, blue. So remember to do your research first. So what's happened is that it's taken the hibiscus. Isn't it lovely? If you like this colour, isn't it lovely that it's from a natural, let me just read this out. Hibiscus, this is something you can use in tea. It's got a lot of vitamin C in, but it can also be used as a hair dye and it's safe and natural. Rich in vitamin C, also makes a great refreshing drink, either hot or cold. Or you could even mix it in with some of your other juices if you want. I've got this winter herbal blend that I get from Golden Age Remedies. Might put a tiny drop of that in. It's fine. This is powder. So what I'm going to do next, honestly, your hair becomes thick, you don't lose as much. This is what I found with mine. And the other, and funnily enough, it's growing faster as well. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, because I'm going to do this every week or every other week as a nourishment, but also to keep my hair tip top, and the side effect will be the colour. I'm now going to create, it's fun because it's like I'm playing this art game with my hair, but nourishing it at the same time. So I'm going to put some indigo powder in, I'm going to put some coffee in it, and I'm going to mix that up. I might put some Bring Raj powder. Bring Raj powder, also known as Eclipta alba, is a herb that has been used throughout India for centuries. It's a medicinal herb that promotes growth, hair growth, and can treat various other ailments. So it's less about colour, it's more about nourishment. So I'll put a teaspoon of that in as well, which I've also used before. And let's see what colour my hair goes, but of course it's nourishing it at the same time. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you. And last but not least, castor oil. Look up the work of Barbara O'Neill on castor oil. She talks a lot about this. Castor oil is made of the seed. Let me just read this to you. Oh, it's not there. Oh, it doesn't tell you. I got this from a company called Guardian Angels, but you can get it from different companies. But you want to make sure that you get one that's hexane free. Hexane is the chemical that they use in it. You really need to get a proper one. But castor oil, when these seeds are grown, and they're grown in hot countries, India and Africa, I think, other places like that, it's one of the seeds that holds the most light within. Again, it's all about sunlight, natural sunlight. And it's a really thick, viscous oil. I'm going to put a little bit, because I use this every day. Now, I know that my mother was telling me that when she was a little girl in India, my grandmother used to give the whole family a teaspoon. It's very, you know, can you see it? It's very viscous, thick oil. It holds a lot of light in it. But they were given a spoon of this every month as a way of detoxing so that they get all the gunge out of their body. And on that day, they weren't allowed to eat anything. It was like a fast day. And then at the end of the day, my grandmother would make khichdi. And the real khichdi, which is made with a particular type of lentil, masoor lentil, and basmati rice, or rice that holds a lot of water, but it was basmati, and lots of ghee, homemade ghee, made with, in those days it was buffalo butter, which holds a lot of light because it's from the animal that was raised there in the sunlight. It's all about light. Light is the key. So I use this on my skin. I use this on my eyelids. It also helps my eyelashes grow, but it can also go inside the skin. It's soaked in, and it actually helps the eyes because of the light in it. It helps break down glaucoma and other conditions. Again, it's the light. You can also use this as a detox for your liver, because the liver is the most important organ that detoxes. So you can use it as a pack. Look up Barbara O'Neill castor oil pack. And you just pour this onto, I've got these cotton pads that you use. Women, you can use sanitary towels if you want to, but get quality ones, real cotton, you know. But I use all the bed liners that old people use if they're incontinent, and you soak it on there, leave it soaked, and then you put it against your liver and put some masking tape around the outside and leave it overnight, and it soaks in overnight. And again, the light is going into the liver. It's all about light. Alternatively, if you live in a hot country, go and sunbathe in the early morning light or the afternoon light and get the UV. It's all about the UV light. Of course, we're told, aren't we, that UV is bad for us. Of course, that's by design because they want to kill us, just in case you hadn't realised this truth by now. They're trying to trim the population and have been for a long, long time, 100 years or more, the eugenics program. You know, there used to be a time where I didn't want to talk about it because it was a conspiracy. But you know what? It's not anymore. It's a fact. And I wish I had carried on talking, just like Dr. Jack Kruse has. He's really opened up there in the last few years. And there's a reason for that. So that's castor oil. Okay, I think I've given you a lot of great knowledge today. Get a pen and paper, read it, and be prepared for some future videos which are going to blow your mind, because they've blown my mind. I have just got to put it all together in a way that I can articulate it so that you understand in a very simple way. If you were to go and listen to Dr. Jack Kruse now and you don't have any medical background, you might find it difficult because he uses a lot of terms and even other things he says, which you're going to think, what is he talking about? What? But because I've been in this arena for donkey's years, reading and researching without being a medical doctor. In fact, that's my benefit that I haven't. That's to my benefit, because then I can think like this. I understand his words, so I'm trying to get the information and put it in a way that anyone can understand in small bite-sized chunks. For me, bite size is 40 or 50 minutes long. Yeah, not the low dopamine hit nonsense, because you'll never understand anything from short things. That's how you become dumb. That's why you're dumb, right? You're dumb because of that. Hopefully, if you're listening to these types of videos, you're not. Okay? All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Do comment below. I'm very happy to receive comments, and comment among yourselves if you want to. Otherwise, until next time, have a wonderful day. And remember, get up at dawn. In the UK, it's around 7:15, and get outside with your cuppa and get your eyes connected to the light so that your circadian clock starts, and then everything starts to work in harmony with nature. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.